What up, everybody, and welcome to the FB and Goob Show. I am FB. Goob is still on vacation in Italy. He just was at a Milan game, soccer match. Very excited, very exciting for him. He seemed very happy. So yeah, good for that guy. Fuck that guy. Who cares about him? What we care about is the NFL draft. So tonight is the third annual FB and the Goob NFL Draft Spectacular. So with that being said, let's not waste any time. Let's just get right into it. We are going to miss the Goob a little. I did get some input from him. He did ask me to figure out a way to get him a player. I did my best. I spent the week working on figuring out how to get the Niners one player. I think I did it. So with that being said, let's get it going. I would like to apologize now if I mispronounce a name. That is usually why Goob is here, to make sure that all the names are pronounced correctly. That's pretty much the only reason he's actually here, to be honest with you, is to make sure that all the names are pronounced correctly. So, here we go. And to be honest with you, I think I have the first few names. A lot of them. It gets a little tricky there in the middle, like 13 to 15 to 20 some. It's like, oh shit. But I think I got them in the beginning. So here we go. With the first pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the FB and Goob show choose Caleb Williams, USC. Now I'm just fucking around. Caleb Williams. The Bears will ruin yet another quarterback. Yay for you, Caleb. They've had 42, now 43, since I don't know, 80 something. So you're going to be the 43rd quarterback for the Bears. Good luck, bro. I'll tell you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I took him in first. I saw his attitude on the field when he was losing sometimes. It seemed pretty poor. I thought the other young gentleman seemed to have better demeanor. I don't know. So with that being said, with the number 2 pick, the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be second pick in the draft. I think that's a fair choice. I think he could have been. The first pick in the draft. I know we've heard J.J. McCarthy. I know we've heard a lot of names, but to be honest with you, here in the FB and Goob show, we think the first pick should have been Joe Alt or Marvin Harrison Jr. Just because, well, we believe quarterbacks should be taken in the second and third round, where their value is actually met, because there's a good chance they don't play the first or second year, and they come out maturity-wise and ready to play in the third year, which I and the Goob agree would be the second pick in the draft, not the first pick in the draft, or second round. So, but with that being said, Jaden Daniels. Caleb Williams, of course, number 1. Number 3 gets interesting, and I put a lot of thought into this. Goob's not here to think, so I put a lot of thought into this. And when I heard that Robert Kraft was involved in the pick, and I heard that he wanted some say, I totally took Drake May away. I really did. I just was like, oh, Robert Kraft wants to say something. And I thought, wow, I wonder if Tom Brady has mentioned anything to Robert Kraft about that kid from Michigan. And if Robert Kraft has anything to do with this draft for the Patriots, and I believe anytime an owner truly gets involved in a draft, Carolina Panthers, Dallas Cowboys, gets involved in a draft, I think that team suffers that year. So, with a third pick of the draft, I think the New England Patriots are going to take J.J. McCarthy from the college champion Michigan Wolverines. I think that to be true. Um, with the fourth pick of the draft, and this is probably my favorite FB in the Goob draft special. Um, I have made a trade. Now, Goob would never let me trade, so this is kind of fun for me because we were always supposed to go 1 through 32 and just pick what we thought was supposed to be there. So, with the fourth pick in the draft, the Arizona Cardinals trade to the Minnesota Vikings, receiving the 11th, the 23rd, and a second in the 2025. That's what I thought was kind of fair. I mean, you're only switching a few picks. It's not like it's blockbuster. And with the fourth pick in the draft, the Minnesota Vikings take Drake May. That sounds so exciting for me. Not as exciting as the next pick in the draft. I'm not allowed to do trades, but I am this year. With the fifth pick in the draft, the San Diego Chargers trade to the Green Bay Packers. The San Diego Chargers will receive Christian Watson, the 25th pick, a second rounder, a third rounder, a sixth rounder, and a seventh round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Hear me out here. Now I know Favre and Rodgers, Matthews, eye on the prize, Marvin Harrison Jr. It's a fair trade. Harbaugh is rebuilding a team that has no depth, no talent other than the quarterback, the running back they let go. They let go of their best receiver, who was aging. Not bad. Their defense is now aging and was supposed to be good, but just never really panned out. And they did all that through free agency. So we do now understand that you have to do it through the draft. And if he wants to do it in a hurry, he needs to get all the draft picks this year. I'm just saying. He needs to get all the draft picks this year if he wants to do it in a hurry. So he gets a second, a third, which is now 2 seconds, 2/3 for him. He gets Christian Watson, a possible top 10 receiver. Now, I know Marvin Harrison Jr., possible top 5 receiver, but he gets a possible top 10 receiver. I know all the Packer fans are maybe sad, but listen, Christian Watson struggles with hamstrings. Green Bay maybe not the best place for somebody who struggles with hamstrings. It's kind of cold there. It's a wee bit nipply. I'm just saying. Hear me out here. And with the fifth pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Marvin Harrison Jr. of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, I think that's fair for everybody. We still have a second and a third. We got more picks than anybody. We were number one in picks. So we can give away. If they want more, we could discuss this. We could give a fifth or something. I don't care. The prize. So, and then that would go Vikings, Drake May, Packers, Marvin Harrison Jr. And that's a really good way to show somebody in your division that, hi, we're right here. And taking Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Packers with Jordan Love, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, would be an unstoppable offense with Josh Jacobs, Kraft, and Musgrave. So, Brian Gutekunst, if you've heard this, it's just a thought. It's just the FB and Goob shows draft spectacular. Now we get boring. I don't got a lot of trades right now, and I just got teams making themselves better, hopefully. With the sixth pick in the draft, the Giants, as scheduled to take, as I've seen in 1,000 mock drafts, Malik Neighbors, which makes sense. They have no other firepower on offense. They have no weapons. The only weapon they had, they let the Eagles take, who was in their own division. I believe Hyatt is somewhere still on the team, Waller at tight end. And I believe they're going to stick with Bug-Eye Jones to continue to be the quarterback. I don't see them moving up. I don't. The defense is pretty good. They've drafted well around there. They drafted well on the offensive line in the last year and a half. 2 years. So let's Malik Neighbors. The luckiest team in the draft, as of other than the Packers with the huge trade, and a team that trades up for a quarterback never usually works, but go Vikings. Um, the Tennessee Titans select Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. Good for the Titans. Good pick, actually. Um, very helpful. Moving on, the good old Atlanta Falcons. The Kirk Cousins-led Atlanta Falcons with probably next year's best running back in B.J. Robinson. Um, Pitts is probably going to see a whole new form of quarterback. He's probably never seen the ball that many times. And Drake London is a superstar wide receiver. So there are a lot of wide receivers there. You could take them. But I'm going to have to go with defense. I think he could have been second or third. If Goob was here today, he would have said second or third. Quarterbacks, neither one of us like taking quarterbacks. So Dallas Turner, edge rusher, Alabama. Probably top 5 guy. Get him at 8. Good for the Falcons. They need help on defense. I think they need more help on defense than they do on offense. They got a lot of talent there. Actually have a decent offensive line, and that's what Kirk Cousins needs. He just needs a little bit of time. That dude gets rid of the ball. His release is, Aaron Rodgers like. So, and at number 9, I the Bears ruined Caleb Williams. They probably should take an offensive lineman here. But if you don't get this kid any weapons, then he can't do what he does, which is throw the ball. Caleb Williams is an excellent thrower of the ball. So at number 9, which I'm not sure, everybody else has him here. I guess we'll take him here. I didn't see him in the championship game. I thought he was non-existent, so I don't know what Michigan did so special. But Romeo Odunze for the 9th slot to the Chicago Bears. Told you it gets a little boring here. With the 10th spot, and if I was the Jets, I would try to get more draft picks, realizing my future wasn't with Aaron Rodgers. And he's right there, but I don't know. When the Packers had Rodgers, we took Watson and we took Dobbs, and we started taking these players, but it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers. It was for Jordan Love. So I might consider interior line. They picked up a tackle. Good for them. They got to protect him. He's slow. He ain't quick. He ain't fast. His reaction time is a 40-year-old's reaction time. So that ain't very fast. So, but at the same time, you can't pass up somebody 6'3" that can do a backflip at 245 pounds. So with the 10th pick in the draft and Aaron Rodgers' new toy, the Jets select Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia. And they should. They should for whoever is the quarterback they take next year at pick 5. So, I mean, that's fair. I wish the Packers were still involved in some kind of we get back shit, but we're not. All right. We've come to our first trade. I get something back. So with the 11th pick from the Vikings to the Cardinals, who could have had Marvin Harrison Jr., that's not going to help the Cardinals. Cardinals need picks. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to prove that to you. So with that trade, with the 11th pick, they need a guard, but there's not any from the first round. So if you need an offensive guard, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, you'll find them. So with the 11th pick, Terrion Arnold, cornerback, Alabama. Not a bad pick, I don't think. I believe that's an actually solid pick for the Cardinals. They have to stop the San Francisco 49ers, and they have to stop the Rams. The Seahawks, they're just trying to improve themselves all the time. So Cardinals need to improve themselves. So they're going to do it with picks this year. Watch this. So Terrion Arnold, cornerback, Alabama. On to the 12th pick, the Broncos. Can't believe they're the 12th pick. It should be like the third or fourth pick. So, but here we go. Broncos need everything too. All these trades led them to a decent offensive tackle, I believe. They at one point in time they said they needed a quarterback, and apparently they don't anymore. They still do, unless he was just in the wrong place. I guess going with another Wilson can't hurt that much. They probably need cornerback. There's still some out there. You're not going to get too many really top 2, 3 offensive tackles in football. Defensive tackles, there's some meat in the middle. There's a lot of big guys in the middle of this draft. But if you could get Mr. J.C. Latham from Alabama at offensive tackle, you probably should snatch him up right now. So I'm assuming with the 12th pick in the draft, he won't be there anymore. And this is just all FB and the Goob assumptions. We're just guessing. We've thought it out. I don't think anybody else has the Packers trading to the Chargers. So probably other people having the Vikings trading to the Cardinals, but probably not too many people having the Packers trading to the Chargers. Changes the draft a little bit. Saints, another offensive line needer. Saints, I don't know what the Saints are doing. I really don't. I looked at a few things there, and I just felt like they needed somebody at every position. Kamara is aging. What the hell they're doing at quarterback. So the defense is still pretty decent. So with the 14th pick, the offensive tackle out of Oregon State, and here's one of these ones I'm gonna kill. Toulouse Fugea. I'm gonna do my best there. Offensive tackle, Oregon State. You can't, if you're just rebuilding your football team, we truly believe that we just start in the trenches. Just start building an offensive line. You got aging running backs, a questionable quarterback. Olave's he's dynamic, and you could add to the receiving core, but you still need to add to the quarterbacking core. So I don't know. Build in the trenches, in which I believe they will. Here comes the kid everybody thinks is dynamic, and with the 15th pick, I believe that the Indianapolis Colts will pick up Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback, Toledo. Definitely a high riser, not playing at a school that challenged too many top receivers, but numbers wise and speed and what he can do. Yeah, this is who they say could be the best cornerback in the whole draft. So I think you're going on numbers there. I think you're going on combine. I would have not. I don't know. I saw him going to the Packers, and I kind of went, well, I hope not. I don't really want to see that guy in the Packers. I think we've had a couple of those that we've picked up, and they didn't really pan out for us. At pick 16, Seattle Seahawks. Not a lot of trades going on right now. People are just making their team better, and just as the Seahawks will be here. Once again, building the trenches. So you got to, all this. That's what's happening in the draft right now from 10 to 20. So I'm just building our team. Seattle Seahawks takes Troy Fontanu, offensive line, Washington. I think that's a fair pickup. And at 17, the Jags also just building their defense better. Somebody that I thought I would have liked to see in the Packers pickup, but we're not. We would have to trade up to get to him, and I'd rather trade up to get to the prize. So Cooper DeJean, cornerback, Iowa, free safety. I think he can play any position in that backfield, so that's what's kind of exciting about him. The 18th pick in the draft, trenches, but just on the other side of the trenches, and something that I believe Cincinnati needs. You got to go against Mahomes, Allen, and you got the toughest road if you're Cincinnati. So Miami, a lot of teams, the Jets this year maybe with Rodgers. But Brian Murphy, second, Texas defensive line. I believe the Goob and I would have went there for the Bengals. I'm going there for the Bengals. Several other people there that I saw through mock drafts thought that that's probably one of the better fits. Um, the Rams at 19, of course, losing Donald was a big shot in the arm, probably, especially since you probably had a couple more really good years left in him. And just needing defense. And there is no way you could pass up this name because, well, that's what you guys do. Nakua, you got just the craziest fucking names everywhere on that team. So, Lataya Latu, Edge, UCLA. Hope I got that right. Goob's not here. He would have got that. He would have said that name. I would have went, all right, do it, man. He would have done the Rams pick. But he's not here, so I'm doing that pick. So, there you go. Number 20, the Steelers. We talked deeply about this last year, taking Lindenbaum at center. Thought that was probably the best spot and the best place for somebody who's a true offensive lineman, stud. Steelers, bring back the run game. Went with Kenny Pickett. They need to make up for it this year and not take like Michael Penix Jr. or anything silly. But they did. They made the trades for Field, and they picked up Russell Wilson. So we're not going to do any silly quarterback things this year. Going to work on the offensive line. Amarius Mims, Georgia. And I believe that's probably the best thing they can do, to work on the line. They've got two decent running backs. I know Najee's aging now, but he's not old. And then the kid that backed him up last year, who Woolen, he played very well. They got two quarterbacks now. They still have the receivers. Let's hope these two quarterbacks can corral these receivers and kind of get their attitudes straightened out. And I think if they start at the offensive line and build the trenches, the Steelers could become the Steelers of old. Always going to have a defense. They got the snubbed Defensive Player of the Year in Watt. And, yeah, I think a good offensive lineman is where the Steelers need to go. I think they should have went there last year and picked up Lindenbaum, but whatever. Move on. The 21st pick in the draft, the Dolphins. Lost a lot in free agency. They lost a lot of defense, like their best defensive player in Wilkins. And who knows when Chubb's ACL injury is going to come back to where he can play edge as well again. And so I think we go defense here. I think you have to. I think they did a few things in free agency for cornerback, and you got to get to the quarterback. With AFC, you got to get to Mahomes, you got to get to Allen, you got to get to Burrow. And Jared Verse, edge, Florida State. I think that's where the Dolphins will go. Keep him in Florida. I think that'll make him happy. His family's probably in the area. It's probably good for him. He's definitely acclimated to the weather in Florida, and that's got to be helpful, especially since you guys do that stadium thing where home team is in the shade and the away team is in the humidity and the sun. So that's probably even better for him. So, yeah, Jared Verse, Florida State. The 22nd pick of the draft, we got the Eagles. I think the Eagles need a lot more help than anybody knows about. I think it's a lot of mental help, but they lost a lot on the offensive line, but I think that defense gave up a lot more points than they should have. I think this is kind of the Aaron Rodgers effect. Oh, we got Jalen Hurts and we got A.J. Brown and we got the Heisman Trophy winner and Deontay Smith and we got all these great players and then we give up 40 points a game. So I think they stay where they're at. I've seen a lot of other mock drafts. People have came in and stole that pick from the Eagles and maybe they got a couple other picks, throughout the draft, but I think they should probably just stay at 22 and take Nate Wiggins, cornerback, Clemson. I think that's put him in the slot, shut teams down. You have a high-scoring offense with Hurts and A.J. Brown, and I think you're good to go. I don't think you need to work on the offense as much. You can pick up linemen throughout the draft. There's no guards. There's no centers. You can get those later. You lost Kels. There's no first round Kelseys. There's no. So, yeah. Um, Here we go. 23rd pick. Good old Cardinals come for their second pick of the first round. And listen, you passed on Marvin Harrison Jr. I believe that's a good move because you've gained a second pick in the draft, and you got a lockdown cornerback. So good for you. So at the 23rd pick, the Arizona Cardinals, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU. Chew, like the third or fourth best receiver in the whole draft. So you didn't get Marvin Harrison Jr., but how much better can he be than another receiver in the pros? If you get one of the five in this draft, I think they're pretty much, all going to get away from the cornerbacks. Maybe Harrison Jr.'s route tree is a little bigger, but you still scored a great receiver and the best corner in the whole thing. So good for the Cardinals. 24th pick, Dallas Cowboys. We all love Cowboys. Go Cowboys. I don't think they'll move from here. I think they need offensive line help. CeeDee Lamb, Dacky Boy. They maybe running back help, but you're not finding that in this round. So not passing up top tier offensive lineman or top tier defensive tackle. But I think with the 24th pick, the Tyler Guyton, the offensive tackle, Oklahoma, will be off the board and will be playing for the Dallas Cowboys, which I believe will make Skip Bayless the happiest son of a bitch in the world. So let's do it. At 25, due to the trade, the Chargers. Now remember, here's Jim Harbaugh. He's building his new franchise. This is his team. He needs as many picks as he can get. He just picked up 4. And this is his first round draft pick. Just start in the trenches. Plenty of players to pick up as we go along. I saw several drafts that just had the Packers taking this guy at this pick. So, and we don't need as much help at this position, not as much as they do. So with the 25th pick in the draft, the Chargers, Graham Burton, offensive line, Duke. So there you go. Now they've got their first player and 4 more picks to go from the Packers. And Christian Watson. And I believe San Diego will be much better for him than Green Bay. I really do. All right. Here we go. With the 26th pick in the draft, and probably the only chance the 49ers have of getting Goob's player, the Bucks trade the 26th pick to the Niners. The Bucks will receive the 31st pick, the 132nd pick, and the 211th pick of the 2024 draft. That's what happened, Goob. You had to give up 2 players to get your player. And with the 26th pick in the draft, the Niners take Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback, Alabama. You got it, buddy. Now you can get a jersey that says Kool-Aid on the back. I knew that would make you happy. I really did. I knew that was going to make you happy. I knew it. So there you go, Niner fans. Kool-Aid McKinstry, first round. FB and the Goob. We've called it. Now, with that being said, the 27th pick. This is a big one. This is the Cardinals. And the Cardinals already got 2 first-round draft picks. So this is an opportunity to get more picks. With the 27th pick in the draft on the FB and Goob show, the Raiders will trade back into the first round. The Cardinals will get the 44th pick, the number 223rd pick, and the second round pick of the 2025 draft. The Cardinals will give that pick to the Raiders, and the Raiders will pick Michael Penix Jr., Washington State. I hope they do. I like that kid's got an arm, can throw from any place on the field. So, yeah, with the 27th pick. Now, the Cardinals now have picked up another 3 picks. I know one is next year, but that's 3 more picks. And they need as many picks as they can get. So, go Cardinals. Moving on. At the 28th pick, The Buffalo Bills, who need a wide receiver, and could have traded up. But as I said, if you get the top 5 or 6 wide receiver in this draft, there's a lot of talent there, and the Bills are going to get one. Um, I think at the 28th pick, and this is just what the FB and Goob show think. Adonia Mitchell, wide receiver, Texas. I think that's who will find his way being a Buffalo Bill, unless they truly make a trade. And I just don't know if the Bills are going to make that big of a trade for a wide receiver, which the Bills truly need a wide receiver. They let go of Gabriel Davis. They traded Stephon Diggs, and they have nobody left except Dalton Kincaid, Donovan Knox, and whoever that little speedy receiver it is that it runs down the middle. I don't know who that is. So yeah, they need to pick up a receiver, and unless they're willing to trade and give up a lot, the Packers had to give up, in my mind, to get the prize, to add to the rest of the prizes we've had throughout life. We had to give up 4 draft picks, exchange first rounders, and our supposedly #1 receiver. Although I am a big fan of Jaden Reed, so I think adding Marvin Harrison to that would be outstanding. But Bills get the receiver, and they can get ready for this year. With the 29th pick in the draft, now the Lions needed a few things. I don't believe there's a cornerback out there anymore. I believe Jameson Williams will show up this year and be the receiver he was at Alabama. So I think that with Amon St. Brown and that tight end this year, he played outstanding. So he could have been offensive rookie of the year if it wasn't for C.J. Stroud. So, but I think you got 2 ends that play well in Hutchinson's and the other kid's name is I know I forgot it, but you got 2 decent edges. You got one of the best edges in football. If you get a good middle rush, I think that'll help the Lions out a lot. And I don't want to help the Lions out at all. So, but Jarizon Newton, defensive line, Illinois, I think will help out the Detroit Lions. And this is what they need. You got to build the trenches, right? And you already got the outside part of the trenches. You just need to build the inside of the trenches. So, yeah, filling a need, making the line stronger. I think that's what Detroit needs to do. I think that's what Campbell will do. And there you go. 30th pick in the draft, the Ravens. It's pretty simple here. I think they have weapons all around them. That Zane Flower kid last year, that receiver, man, outstanding. The young tight end to go along with the old Mark Andrews, outstanding. But I think they're a running team first. You don't take a running back in the first round. I know Dobbins went to San Diego, and I know they still got Gus Edwards, but they're probably going to have to pick a running back up in this draft, but there's not any in the first. But they could use some more help on the offensive line. Build the trenches once again. I think they're a trench team in the first place, defensively or offensively. Offense is where they need it because they're a running team first, a passing team second. Lamar Jackson is the quarterback. Jordan Morgan, offensive line, Arizona. I think that's where they'll end up going. At least that's where the FB and Goob show believe they're going to go. So, 31st pick is now the Bucks because the Niners have traded it. Goob's now got a jersey that says Kool-Aid on the back, and the world is right. And nothing changed, actually. I saw a lot of mock drafts, and this is where this player was going, was to the Bucks. And after I went through everything and saw needs and what they needed, Bucks still ended up with them. So Chop Robinson, edge rusher, Penn State. I believe a good fit. They lost quite a bit of defense, aging-wise, and just the free agency. So I think Chop Robinson, who was very impressive in the combines, very impressive playing in the Big Ten and playing defensive edge. You're going against a lot of strong offensive lines and beefy guys. So good for the Bucks. And with the 32nd pick in the first round and the last pick in the first round and the defending Super Bowl champions, and this is probably my favorite player other than the guy behind me in all college football, and just because of the name itself, and I think his route running capabilities in college, I believe I read and heard, were probably the best route running. He was the best route runner in all college, and I think in the Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes offense, that's probably going to fit in very well. And with the 32nd pick in the draft, FB and the Goob Show got Ladd McConkey. That's right, a McConkey going to the Chiefs. Wide receiver, Georgia. I think perfect. Awesome. He played with Bowers. He played well in Georgia. And once again, the best route runner in all of college football. So good for the Chiefs. Another offensive weapon. Sucks. So that's it. That is the third annual FB and the Guy Not Here show. NFL draft. I do have a couple of happy moments in this week. The Knicks are 2-0 against the 76ers in the first round of the playoffs. Very happy about that. Tyler Reddick won Talladega. Mixed emotions. I'm going to the October Talladega race. Not often you win it twice a year. So probably not going to a Tyler Reddick victory. But right on, Tyler got his victory. That victory puts us in the championship. No matter what, we're done. Busher, you got to get a win if the Goob's going to get his boy in there. Hey, listen. Next week, Goob will be back. I won't be by myself. For those who listen to the third annual FB and the Goob NFL Draft Spectacular, thank you very much. I'm FB. Have a nice night.